Leg 1 of the Leicestershire Round starts in Cossington village and ends at Burrough Hill Fort. Starting from the heart of Cossington, the route heads east along the minor lanes before crossing Ratcliffe Road to head past Ratcliffe College, after which it turns sharply eastward across a couple of fields, the A46 road, and then heads southeastward along some more field paths past the old Rearsby Mill. From this point, it continues over the Melton branchline before arriving in Rearsby village. Heading through Rearsby for a mile, the route then heads northeastward, hopping back over the railway line, past Bleak Moor, before turning north and then east at the mill house. The route continues on the field paths eastwards towards Hoby. Upon arriving, it skirts the village edge to continue eastwards along and cross the River Reek, and yet again crossing that railway line. As it reaches the southeast fringe of Rotherby, the path turns sharply northeast, heading across the fields to finally arrive in the heart of Frisby. There, it immediately turns southwards out of the village to take a lengthy excursion across numerous fields and the A607 road to Gaddesby. Passing along the eastern fringe of Gaddesby, the route heads south, then strikes out southwestwards across the fields towards first Ashby Folville and then Thorpe Satchville. From this latter village, it finally heads directly east along Baker's Lane before crossing back onto field paths to make the gentle ascent up Burrough Hill itself to end up at the Iron Age Fort's viewing point. It's a sunny Sunday morning, and I am starting off on what's going to be the Leicestershire Round, Round 1. This is a walk I've been meaning to do for some time. So we're here on the mean streets of Cossington, which are anything but mean. It's roughly the point that's closest to where I live, which is why I'm starting on it. Still took extensive negotiation with Mrs. Llama to permit me to come out this morning because she had to drop me off, and obviously pick me up later. And I think the interesting part of this is, well, I walked this in one of my previous videos, the Leicester Canal route recently, but also a lot of the villages I'm doing today are ones I regularly walked around over the years. Part 2, I start going beyond my comfort zone. Now I've broken the route down into 7 roughly equal chunks. The last one's 3 or 4 miles shorter actually than most of the rest. But that's because if I lose any distance, I can add it onto that last walk. I say roughly equal as well, mainly because I have to work out where's a good point to stop that's not just in the middle of a field or literally in the middle of nowhere, where Mrs. Llama can come and drive and pick me up. We are, as regular viewers will recognise, on Burrough Lane, which is between Cossington and Selby. Nice little green road, popular for walkers, dog walkers, cyclists. And with the first very gentle hill of the walk. Looking what I've got planned for stage 2 starts with a real brute of a hill, which is one of the reasons why I'm stopping just before that on today. At least that's the plan, we'll have to see. I don't think the weather should be too much of a problem today. It's forecasted about 19 degrees. Not as humid as it's been in the last week or so. If anything, despite being July, this is pretty much perfect walking conditions. Oh, I'm saying that now because I'm within the first mile. Remind me in about another 10 miles that I said that. So just coming up to the back of Ratcliffe College, whereby we will take a route after that to head across the fields. And unfortunately, across the A46 very shortly after that. Not looking forward to that, but it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this walk at this time on a Sunday morning. So the road will hopefully be quiet. We shall, of course, see when we get there. Nothing like spotting a big crucifix just off the path to say welcome. Oh look, there's another one. I seem to recall, and last time I walked this particular path must have been nearly 10 years ago, they are the Stations of the Cross associated with a local ecclesiastical place just down the road. Anyway, here we are
And the sound you can hear in the background, that's the A46. Shame it couldn't be quiet this morning. Let's hope it's not quite as busy as it'll be on a Monday morning. It's only about 9 o'clock on a Sunday, so I imagine there'll be, hopefully, plenty of gaps in traffic. We'll see very, very shortly. There we go. The not exactly that clear path to the A46. Right, oh look, a gap. Also, a gap. Don't you just love it when footpaths take you straight across major highways? I didn't look like that was 70, mate. But I can at least see the entrance to the fields. Overgrown though it is, because let's face it, who in their right mind comes on this route? Premier route around Leicestershire? My left foot it is. But we're across it, and when I was sorting out the route for the whole round yesterday, I think this is the only point you cross a road literally as busy as that. The route does cross the M1 a couple of times, but it goes underneath it, obviously, because you can't walk on a motorway, thankfully. Anyway, off down here, and our next destination will be Rearsby in about 15-20 minutes. Well, we're now on the approach path to the old Rearsby Mill. Good morning, ladies. I last came down this route, I think back in March, in one of my very first videos, walking with llama paws. It was nice to come back in summer. I was also just thinking it's very strange because when I'm walking around the local paths on a linear route, I'm normally either heading for home or more likely doing a circular route and ending up at home. So it feels slightly strange to have started close to home and now just walking away. And most of the round, I suspect, will have that feeling as I just walk further and further away from home. The last couple of legs I've got planned are the points which I'll begin to enter back into territory I've either walked to from my house or walked in, just doing a sort of nice local route. And the puppy's fantastic down here. But yeah, so Rearsby Mill, across a railway track. See if there's any trains coming today. Probably not, it's a local line, it's a Sunday. And then into Rearsby itself, and then out past its church and across the fields. That's all to come in the next half hour. So, just going past Rearsby Church there. Just chatting to a very nice chap there. Back the round. Trying to encourage him to do it, quite like the idea. No, I don't think it's that way. That way. Yes. Oh, yeah, sign. It's the giveaway. It's a really nice church shop, this. Ah, pride cometh before a fall. I was just doing that previous bit to camera and I missed the fact there was a tiny cut through ahead of me that would have taken me up past a convent and would have cut off the corner I just did. Ended up doing it on the road. So, shame. Missed that tiny fragment of the round. But never mind. Picked it up again immediately. Ended up walking another 400, 500 yards, but no loss. Oh, look. Medieval field workings. Oh, I've mentioned before in other videos, these do my legs in. You're up, and you're down. And then you're up, and then you're down. Particularly when they go on for a while. So right, yes, that was Rearsby. Next up, according to the sign and my map, is Hoby. And oh, look, we're crossing the railway yet again. Excellent. In which case, I'm going to stop filming and concentrate on walking. Wasn't going to film again for a little while, but then I saw this lovely bridge approaching. Well, look at that. She's a beauty. It's more modern construction, I suspect, but all the same, a treat to go over. Ooh. Luckily, no dogs. I know I'm walking through the Reek Valley section of the route, but I do seem to be coming across an awful lot of disused mills. I've passed 3 of them so far, and we've only come about 5 or 6 miles total so far on the route. Now, though, on the pathway across the fields to Hoby. Beautiful crops in the field there. And quite a charming field there, left fallow off pasture. I'm pleased to say today's route so far hasn't been that hilly, but then that is the joy of this section of Leicestershire. It isn't that hilly. I do know, though, that the further east I go on this route, the more severe the contour lines are looking on the map. Not sure how much that I'll be hitting today. Certainly the next walk is going to be a bit more up and down, a little more challenging on the old legs. So just coming out of the field paths and onto the fringes of the village of Hoby. A little bit of road walking into the village itself, and then back across the fields heading southwards for a little while. Paths around here a little more overgrown than elsewhere. Already received my first nettle stings of the walk, so I know I'm underway. Obviously I am wearing trousers. Only a fool would wear shorts on some of these routes around Leicestershire. But here we are. This is the edge of Hoby. Hoby is just up there. Again, Hoby's one of those places I feel quite local to me on my routes. In winter, it's a very regular visit for me. If only because there's lots of nice roadways to walk on. So, through Hoby, and now heading down the path that will come just outside Rotherby. Oh, what a quaint bridge with a strange pole across it. I think that's the Reek. Don't quote me on it, I will check, and the caption guy will update us. Yeah, that's a real quality bridge, but it works, so I'm not going to complain. Haha. Ah, the round goes straight on. Ooh. Oh yes, there's the route. So, just skirting the edge of Rotherby. Oh, it's okay, ladies, I'm just coming through. Stopping to have a chat with some locals. Absolutely lovely people there. Always meet nice people there. I always do, every time I stop and chat to people there. So, yeah, it's a very nice place. Highly recommend it. Of course, I then had to vault a gate. I could not work out the latch sequence on it. So, first gate vaulting of the trip complete. It's not a proper walk unless I jump over a gate at some point. Scenery here, absolutely gorgeous. Again, but then I'm biased. This is my neck of the woods. Anyway, from here, it's across the fields again. I do believe we are heading for Frisby. Frisby on the Reek. And oh no! It's a huge puddle. Oh, my bête noire, you have returned. Well, I'm just getting very wet as I walk through another puddle. And on the other side, and oh, that's deep. Oh dear. Oh, and great, slash me arm there slightly. Never mind. Time to get out the old antiseptic spray. This really is my morning for meeting people and chatting to them. I've met the route warden for this stretch of the round, who was in the middle of cutting back some underbrush What a sterling job he was doing, I have to say. A lovely chap as well, so nice to have a little chat with him, but also thank you, because people like him who keep routes like this clear, so hikers like me can enjoy them. Wow, thank you so much. I guess at some point I really ought to find out how I can volunteer and do those sort of things myself. You know, help out other hikers. Seems only fair. Note to self to remember that. Not today though, because today we're walking around, heading still towards Frisby. Now I am heading across the fields to Gaddesby. This is a route I quite enjoy in the spring, summer and autumn, less so in the winter because it's a bit marshy and muddy over these fields. There's a little bit of climbing, goes up and down. I think I counted there's like 14 fields between Frisby and Gaddesby. Some of the fields are quite small fields, admittedly. This would be field 2, technically. The first 2 fields are actually before you cross the main road that's just behind me. But effectively where you can see that line of trees in the distance, that is where we're aiming for. And then we're going to go past Gaddesby and then finally strike out east again. Still on the field path to Gaddesby, but then it is about 2 miles the route across these fields. Slowly getting towards the end though. Fair few hills I've climbed now as well, so my thoughts about it a bit not being too hilly. I think I'm beginning to hit the edge of the Leicestershire Wolds. I don't know, maybe it is, but certainly this is the point at which the terrain as you go further east does get more rolling, as they say, which is nice to look at, although a bit of a pain because you're going up and down it all the time. So now just walking down the eastern fringes of Gaddesby, through some more fields, going through back of folks' houses. Very much is my day for meeting people. I know this because it's Sunday. I normally walk on Fridays and Mondays more often. Just ran into a huge gang of hikers going the other way across the field route I've just come across, which is kind of nice. Glad they weren't going the same way as me. It's always difficult because I tend to walk quite quickly and then you get stuck behind people at stiles and the like. I remember last year on the Wolds Challenge route I did, which is a kind of big thing with hundreds of people doing it. First few miles, my biggest problem was just getting past people who weren't walking fast enough for me. Although I must admit, as I'm now into the 12th mile of this route, I think my pace has slowed down a bit. So I've done a fair bit of hiking this week. So I'm kind of looking forward to a few days at the office not hiking to recover. A couple more villages to go after this though on today's bit of the Leicester Round. And we'll see what they're like. They are a bit of a route I don't know as well as this. Coming up now, I reckon about 10 minutes to Ashby Folville. And as I predicted, the countryside continues to be gently rolling. You'll have to slow me down a little bit at this stage of the walk, but not too much, not too badly. Let some more hikers say hello to. Yeah, other than that, not a lot else has been happening. I've been walking, been admiring the countryside. Legs are certainly at the point where they're beginning to say, why are we doing this? But we shall push on for another few miles. Still a ways to go to Thorpe Satchville. Just checked the mileometer. I'm at 13.36 miles now. Good thing about the round, it's about 101 miles around, which means, roughly speaking, every mile is about 1% of the route round it. So I've almost done 14% of the route. That means there's going to be a heck of a lot still to do. But thankfully, that'll be next weekend before I have to worry about that next bit. As always, as we come towards the end of the walk, I'm just going to remind you, if you've enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you've really enjoyed it and you're not already, subscribe. And if you want others to fall in love with the wonder of a hiking llama, don't forget to share it all on your social media. Well, still approaching Twyford. Just met another very friendly hiker who was amazed at how far I'd come. Bless him, I was nice to meet anyone out and about. Just coming under a little railway viaduct. Aeroplane over here. I have to say, it's been a bit of a messy route between Ashby, Folville and Twyford. In that there's been some large fields with not a great deal of signage, so a bit of guesswork needed, particularly the field I just came across there where I was fairly sure I was in the right place, but not 100%. I am now, of course, having the internal debate of, now do I stop just outside Twyford as I planned? Do I push on to the next little stop I was thinking about, or do I really push on and do the next big hill? I'm not 100% sure I've got another big hill left in me today, but I think I've probably got a little more than Twyford in me. Don't know why I kept saying Twyford. This is actually Thorpe Satchville. I had clearly got the two confused. Twyford's just down there a few miles. It's not on the route. But this is Baker's Lane. At the end of this lane, it is possibly where I'm going to call it a day. About a quarter to half a mile down here. But as I say, if I can persuade those legs that a bit further is not a bad idea, we may yet have a bit more in me. Or I might not, I might just cut a little lapse and sit and wait for Mrs. Lama to pick me up. So my legs and I had a little chat. And I said, look, legs, if we stop here at the end of this lovely road, at Thorpe Satchville, the next thing you have to do is go down into a valley and then climb a great big hill. Now, do you really want to start doing that next time? Or, given the legs are nice and warm up after 15 miles, why not do it today and start off next time from the Burrough on the Hill Fort, which is what you can see ahead of me here. It says it's about a mile. I reckon, given the climb, it's going to take me about half an hour. But I thought it was worth tagging on today. It actually means the next time's walk I'll have to replot slightly because I've cut a couple of miles off it. I can perhaps go a little further next time. Each time meaning my very last bit of the round is shorter. Or maybe there'll be one where I'll be rained off and I'll only do about 3 miles. We shall see. God, I've got to say, this is really heavily tracted ground here, which is not a great deal of fun to walk on. I hope climbing up the hill is not be quite this bad, but I will doubtless find out very, very shortly. When you approach the hill fort from this angle, it looks even steeper. I've got to get to the top of that because that viewing point up there at the top, that's my end point today, but my start point for the next walk.